Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gym Therapy with your host, yours truly. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about emotions. Specifically because I remembered a Reddit post that I saw a while back. The gist of it was there was a woman whose husband lost their mother, and he had been irreconcilably sad for several days. And so she went on Reddit and she made a post and she said she wanted to know if it was okay that she got the ick and was no longer sexually attracted to her husband because he had been sad. And I think that is frankly appalling. And I think it goes, number one, I think it's true. I think it's 100% true that not only her, but a lot of other people in a similar situation would feel the same way. I've heard it thrown around, and I've said it in a previous video, that your wife and your family would rather see you die on the horse than fall off of it. We constantly hear from society that we need to be vulnerable. We need to be able to talk to our partner. We need to be emotionally aware with them to have better relationships. But the number of negative posts from women and then also from men who say, I did this or my partner did this, and now either she's saying she's not attracted anymore, or he's saying that she's leaving the relationship, or like the relationship has changed and he doesn't know what he did wrong, is, I think, indicative that men aren't actually allowed to be sad. It's simply the fact that I think girls largely want their man to be strong. And when he's not strong, it kind of sends them spiraling. Men have taken up the role of, strength, and they provide safety. They're just generally providers, whether it be economically or they're just like your rock, right? Like, my man is here for me. He's got my back. He does this. He does that. He can, move the mountains if I needed him to. And when you're not that, and being emotional kind of runs contrary to being strong, some girls, maybe even a lot, I don't have statistics, all I have is anecdotal knowledge, they don't like it. And that's tough for me because I feel like I'm fairly emotionally intelligent, and I feel like I understand my own emotions, and I personally would love to be able to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm not doing so well. But I have this fear in my mind that if I tell this girl that I am not okay, it will irreparably ruin what we have. So then I sit in my car and I record a YouTube video. Also, I found in my kind of journey that girls just don't care. I had, and I feel like, not all, but I feel like I often hear that women are just so emotionally intelligent and they understand everything, and they're, just so in tune. But every time I have even broached the topic of my own trauma and things I might need from a partner, I have been absolutely stonewalled. I've been absolutely ignored and just like walked over effectively. My most recent example, to like kind of draw my point home, is I had been talking to this one girl for a bit of time, and I told her on my birthday that, hey, I might not want to hang out. It's always a hard day for me. I just, you know, she knew a little bit of my backstory, so I was like, hey, if I need to just do me, please understand. And so we're texting that day, and I'm actually even open to seeing her because I was feeling a little bit better than usual. This was pre-recording my video, and I found out that not even my sister cared. But I texted her, and we were talking about it a little bit, and with foreknowledge that the day that we were in is hard for me, she began to trauma dump her own problems, saying that like her depression was spiraling and she needed to up her medication. And I don't mind being there for a prospective partner, and I don't mind having those conversations, but it felt very tone deaf. You're talking to this guy, He's told you it's a really rough day for him. He's already like not at the tip top of shapes. And it almost felt like she was making it about herself. It almost felt like she was saying, hey, I know you have issues, but here, have some of mine too. Any other day, I would have fucking rolled with the punches and it would have been perfectly okay and I wouldn't have batted two eyes at what she was saying. But that day, I never talked to her again. After she sent that message, I literally ghosted her. Because if she couldn't listen on like just the most like basic level that, hey, I need your help to have a good day today because of all the things that I've been through and all the things that this day kind of means to me, and she goes and does that, then what kind of problems will we have in the future? And maybe it's a shame on me moment. Maybe I just need to suck it up and I just need to be there for her, and it's okay for her to have problems too. But it felt very much like all the other situations in my life where I had gone to somebody and I said, hey, I'm having an issue. And they immediately followed up with, yeah, but I have issues too. These are my issues. Have you heard about my issues? And then the thing that I wanted to talk about never gets talked about because, of course, in those situations, their problem was more important. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, I think, as I kind of compile my thoughts. But today, we have back and by day. So we're going to go and we're going to hit some weights. We're going to hopefully talk a little bit more about this topic. And I'm going to pack it up here. Next time you see me, I will be doing pull-ups. I'm just going to do some pull-ups. I already did a warm-up set. I think we're framed good. I'm just going to get 2 sets because it's really just a warm-up exercise. Alright, so I'm going to do one more of these. I always like to do back-to-back back exercises. So we're going to do pull-ups, and then we're going to go do probably some cable pulls, like single arm cable rows, I guess. It's probably the correct terminology for it. And then after that, we'll jump into our first bicep exercise. The point of this is to kind of just really get that blood flowing. I don't rest too much of it. That's good. Alright, let's go actually start this workout. Alright, I'm going to opt for a back angle for this guy. I need to do my warm-up set, so I'm going to probably do it, take a peek at it, see how I feel about it. Looks like we're framed pretty decently. I'm going to take this, right after the warm-up, I'm going to take my hoodie off so we can, you know, if hypothetically there are any back muscles, you guys will be able to see them. So let's just get this first set out of the way. We're feeling good. Probably the earliest I've taken an article of clothing off in the gym, but it's a back day. We're going to be looking at back, so let's go ahead and actually get the back on camera. Because I'm still not sure if I can actually take my shirt off in this gym, and I'm not trying to. Not in the gym, but when it comes to like posing. Might do a little back pose at the end of this one. We'll kind of see how it goes. See how insecure I'm actually feeling about myself. Alright. Put that down. So I'm going to crank the weight up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean we're gonna go all the way to max. Hopefully get 6 to 8. Maybe 10. We'll see. Look at this first set. No. Eight's definitely where I want to be on this. Maybe shoot for 10 next week. All right. So I did a little bit of post intro research, and there's a number of articles, number of posts, all in kind of that same realm of like, I get the ick and my man is emotional. And I don't mean like he's angry, he's punching walls because his sports ball team lost. I would get the ick if I saw someone do that too. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ick when perfectly mundane, normal stuff has happened. You lost your dog. Your mom died. You lost your job. It's almost like it's not actually okay to be sad. And that's a bit sad. I don't know. This is one of those days where I'm kind of talking about a topic, but I don't really have an actionable way to get around it. I'd love to say that just be careful picking your partner and find someone who can be there for you emotionally. But it's not that easy. You can't really test for my mom died and now my wife doesn't think I'm as hot. It's kind of something you just kind of find out. And people will say whatever they want. I've learned that since I've been back in the dating world. I've learned that with so many women. They will tell you everything you want to hear to try and manipulate a relationship out of you. And then slowly that blind comes up, slowly the curtain is parted a bit, and you find out that she wasn't everything she said she was. She didn't believe everything she necessarily said she did. And she acts quite a bit differently than she initially indicated. Men do the same thing, right? Coming from a guy, a man will tell you everything you want to hear to get in your pants if he doesn't. Let me do a set. I'm going to get into that a little bit. I think because maybe these emotional things, maybe these feelings are more like a human thing and not necessarily like a girl-boy thing. Because I was talking to one of my employees, and he also gets frustrated when his wife is sad. But why? You love this person. Shouldn't that break you apart? Shouldn't that be the worst thing ever when your wife just starts crying? And we're not talking about emotional manipulation, right? Where there are people who will cry and they will be sad and they will use those kinds of things because they know it gets to you. I'm talking about legitimate emotion. Let's get a set, and I'm going to jump back into the manipulation part of it. Shit. Here we go. All right. When it comes to manipulation, a man, for all my girlies watching, a guy will put you immediately upon matching on a dating app, upon meeting in real life. He will put you in a bucket. There's I would not touch this woman with a 10-foot pole, bucket. There's the I would sleep with this woman, but I would never date her bucket. And then there's the I would date her bucket. Largely, men make this determination on your looks. And there's some leeway. If your personality is 10 out of 10, you could go from the I would sleep with you bucket to the I would date you bucket. It's not something I would count on. And it's not something I would bet on either. If someone, I don't know, I have this weird point of view that you should find your partner sexually attractive. I don't think you should ever date someone strictly for their personality, because what would that do to that person's self-esteem if they ever found out? If they ever found out my husband is with me, even though he doesn't think I'm hot, you then have, because inevitably in a relationship, you're going to hit her with the, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever met, you're this, you're that, and then all of a sudden she finds out one day, you didn't mean any of that. It's going to ruin your relationship. Also, you should let that woman be with someone who truly treasures and values her. And the same is equal with men. If I ever found out that my wife didn't think I was hot, or like good in bed, or any of that kind of stuff, I'm going to have to get a divorce. Because that would permanently wreck me, because there is no going back. But a man who has put you in the bucket of, I would have sex with you, and I would not date you, will tell you all of the things you want to hear to do that. He will say, you know, he's looking for a relationship, he wants this, he wants that, how you fit all of his molds. But you don't. And it is very hard to weed out what that guy actually is intending with you. I'm a weird one though. I only date girls, or I only go out with girls, I only sleep with girls that I think I could legitimately have a relationship. But sometimes, at some point, I realize I don't actually have romantic feelings for them, and I never know how to navigate that. I don't want them to feel like I manipulate, and it's always shortly after we've had sex for the first time. We'll have sex, and I'll be like, maybe I'm looking for a feeling, maybe I'm looking to feel something, and I just never do. I don't know if other guys are like that, and it's not post-nut clarity. It's like a spark that I'm looking for. A feeling that I'm trying to recreate. And it just hasn't happened yet. And maybe I'm just not being picky enough. But going back to male manipulation, girls will do the same thing. I'm going to do another set and I'm going to talk about what I've experienced that girls do. Alright, so, girls will, of course we talked about it with dating apps the other day, but they will match with guys that they have no interest in. They will let you chase them, they will let you take them out, and they might even continue talking to you after they've gotten what they wanted. All for the sake of free meals, free gifts, and maybe the worst one is free attention. Right? They will lead a guy on for weeks, never meeting him, they're too busy, just because they want to be able to look at their phone and see that someone is texting them. So I think a lot of people that I see on the internet talk about, you know, how manipulative guys are, but I think it's disingenuous to say just men are manipulative. Girls manipulate too. Maybe it's in a less hurtful way because, you know, sex is not involved typically, but emotional damage is a real thing. And personally, I don't want to be physically abused, and I don't want to be mentally abused either. So, to all of you men and all you women who are treating people poorly, all of y'all need to go to jail. We're gonna get one more set. and then we're going to go to a bicep exercise. Alright, so I think we're going to try and do incline curls, but we'll do what we can get. It's a busy day, it seems. Alright, so we already did a warm-up set on our incline curls. We're going to be doing 40s today. We got to 40s last week. A lot of tough reps at this weight. So I think ideally we're going to do 3 sets, hopefully hit 8 on every single one of them. If I feel like I can do more, I'm going to do more, of course. But, you know, that's a jump from 6 to 8, so. And you really want to just focus getting the weight all the way down, all the way back up. Try not to cheat. Hopefully I won't. I want to be true to my word. So, let's get that first set. That's tough. Oh, we did it. That's what matters. I think the third set of 8 is going to give us some issues. I kind of don't want to yap too much, so I did a lot of talking on that fucking first back exercise. I don't want to fall back into the trap of yapping even more, so. That's tough. That's heavy. It's always crazy to me how adding 5 pounds is just like the difference between just like cruise reps and failure. It feels like sometimes. What was that gym joke? The 2.5s are the heaviest weight in the whole gym. Sometimes it really does feel like it. The world would truly be a better place if everyone just was honest to their intentions. All right. Whew. So we're done on the dumbbells, and we're gonna hunt around and scavenge and see what crazy exercise we can do for our back next. Bingo card's out. Maybe one of my least favorite exercises. I really do prefer pull-ups, but we need to crank the weight up a bit. I think we're gonna go for, I think that's, we're actually going to go 1 notch higher. We're actually going to go for 231. That's 3 notches from the bottom. We'll see if we're as strong as we think we are, and if we're not, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of you and everybody else watching this video. Here we go. Let's get 6 to 8. That's a little bit heavy. We're already a bit torqued from the pull-ups, so I think we're gonna put it down just 1 notch with a 209. It's kind of a stretch. We probably have to open up with this exercise to hit that weight. So, back to the topic at hand. I think that outside of the fantastical, altruistic way I wish everyone would be. And just be honest about the things that they're looking for. I think the best thing we can all do, men and women, to avoid people who are going to emotionally manipulate us, who aren't going to be there emotionally for us, who are going to get the ick when our mothers die. Let's just be as careful as possible when we pick a partner. I was going to say that. And I think a lot of relationships potentially end because, well, people aren't able to be emotionally honest themselves to their partner, to anybody. And then all your problems boil and boil and boil and boil, and eventually you hit a breaking point, and it's too late to do anything about it then. And a lot of people check out and they're not willing to go to the counseling. They're not willing to talk about it anymore because they've been sitting in a dumpster of trauma for 5 years and they've been emotionally checked out for 2. And I think that's kind of blame falls on the person who's hurt and also the person that maybe is doing the hurting, even if it's unintentional. If you're going to be married to someone, you have to be aware of the things that they're going through, and you should be more in touch with your partner. When I was in my relationship with my ex-girlfriend, I think over the course of 7 years, which is a long time, I was emotionally ignorant of her, not more than a single handful. I think when you know someone, you really, really know them. You know when they're having a bad time. You know when they're sad. You know when they're happy. And if you say you don't, then I feel like you're being willfully ignorant. And that's a shame on you. Let's get another 7. Oh, fuck. That shit is tough. I think we'll do one more. I think I might drop the weight for this next one. Just make sure we're going all the way down through the rep, all the way back up through the rep. So we're getting a good enough stretch. We'll do as many as we can. And we will call it an exercise. Here we go. We're just going to control it. We'll do one more drop set, a little bit lower. Give ourselves 10 seconds and then we're gonna just start going for it. All right, here we go. We're done. All right, and Next, we're going to try for preacher curls. So, same weight as last time. We got a 45, a 25, and a 10. We're just going to hopefully get... we'll do the full sets this time, because before we did a 45, 25, we added a 10. I think for like 1 or 2 sets. So, all of them are going to be with that 10. 6 to 8 is the goal. That's always just a little bit stronger than last week. So, let's get it going. That's really tough after hitting the incline bicep curls. However, I'm already sitting here and I've already put the weight on. So regardless of how I feel about the movement, we're doing it. That's really tough. Also, sometimes there's that element of you have to start moving the weight, and then your subsequent movements of the weight are going to be a little bit easier. So I'm hoping that's more or less what's going on here. We'll find out here in a minute or so. That is so hard. My shit is already like... Because pull downs use your biceps a little bit, right? Like, that's why it's like a mostly back, a little bit of bicep day, because your biceps are already getting worked in other supplementary exercises. Maybe not enough to like really grow them, but enough that makes individual bicep exercises pretty difficult, I think. And that's the struggle of the left arm. It's weaker than the right. It's fine. We're going to do one more set. We're going to give ourselves a little bit more rest this time. Make sure that we make this last set count as much as humanly possible. Speaking of emotional manipulation, or just maybe manipulation generally, some people really are their own worst enemy when it comes to stuff like that. I, of course, as I've stated many times, it's almost sounding like I secretly don't date girls, and if I tell you guys I date girls enough, you'll believe me, like I'm trying to hide something. But I date women, of course, and I see their DMs, right, when they're like talking and laughing, and you see plethora of men who have been in her DMs like every month, every week, for years. I've seen a guy just randomly send girls money. Like, if you want my attention, send me money. When it comes to like OnlyFans and like paying for subscriptions, men are like, women suck, women manipulate me. But like, bro, to my bros, you are letting yourself get manipulated. You are the one who is voluntarily trading your hard-earned money that you had to spend time making to a girl who does not care about you, and if she's talking to you after you spent money, it is only because you spent money. You are not going to wake up magically one day after having spent $1,200 and then she's going to be legitimately interested. She's not. Get it together. I get you're lonely. I get that you're looking for companionship. Maybe you don't have great social skills. Maybe you don't know how to approach women in public. Maybe you don't get any likes on Tinder. But I promise you, using your money in that way is not going to get you anything that you want. And instead of having spent that money on hobbies and things you like, things that will benefit your life directly on a permanent basis, you're wasting them on temporary happiness that ultimately is completely transactional and fake. So I'm going to need all of you guys to just do a bit better. For me. And if not for me, do it for you. And if not for you, I don't know, do it for someone. And it's always funny. Let me do a set before I roast men. Because yes, we men have problems, but some of these problems are completely our own fault. Let me get my elbow straight. All right. We're going to pick up this topic. We're going to do another back exercise. Its name is escaping me right now, but you will immediately know what we're doing right when we get there. And we're going to have to steal some plates. So, back to the topic at hand. Men, we are our own worst enemy when it comes to things that we don't like in this world. I see men all the time complaining about how easy women have it. When that comes to like OnlyFans, when it comes to dating, when it comes to XYZ thing that they're worried about. But you are the problem. You are the reason that these things are happening. If men didn't support OnlyFans, if they didn't constantly bombard girls in their DMs for years at a time, if they didn't swipe right on everything with 2 legs, dating apps would be better, the world would be better, your point of view would be better. Men are ruining for men. It's hard to say, and people, I don't hate on the OF grind. I don't hate on the sex work grind. Like, if you see a market, this is capitalism, if you see a market, you would be a fool to not capitalize on it. And if you're getting finessed out of your money, that's your own fault. Let's get a set in. I think, just like girls, if you think all the men that you're dating are toxic, just like men, you think all the girls you're trying to date are manipulating you and are emotionally, girls you think your guys are physically abusive. Number one, I think we should all strive to choose better partners. But number two, I think we all need to strive to be better people. You shouldn't, I feel like in an ideal world, you shouldn't have to be the most careful human in a 50-mile radius to ensure that your husband's not going to hit you. Just like a guy, I mean, the fact that prenuptial agreements are becoming more or less what is commonly accepted and what is commonly identified as necessary if you're going to get married is really a shame. I hate that marriage in itself has become a machine of the government to extract income out of people. Child support's a good thing, but is it right that the government takes like a percentage off the top? No. I want the child taken care of. If anything, I don't know. It's tough. I would love for it'd be harder to actually get a divorce, to try and incentivize not getting one. But at the same time, some people are in legitimately bad situations that they do need to get out of. And if they are in a terribly bad situation, not being able to get out of it would be not good for them. So it's like wanting people to figure out their differences and make it work, while at the same time protecting people that need to be protected, is a very complex situation. I like how we've gone all the way from emotions and men to relationship dynamics and divorce. This has been a yappening of the time from yours truly. Sheesh. I'm gonna do one more of these, then we're gonna run to a bicep exercise, and we're gonna call it there. I hate how scared everyone is to walk in front of the camera. I wish I could put a service announcement to say, walk in front of it, just do it. I'm not trying to inconvenience anybody, truthfully. That kind of goes into how my kind of jump from emotions and men in relationships to just relationship dynamics to marriage is really just like a microcosm of I think how my brain works. I am so pro men and men's rights, but I'm also so very pro women and women's rights. It's just as far as like social equality goes, I just want everybody to play by the same rules. I want everyone's experience to be as close to similar as possible, because at the end of the day, no matter what you look like, what's between your legs, we are all people, and I think that's the most important part. Yes, I may have experienced different things from an emotional spectrum where my partner didn't understand me and maybe had made things about themselves at times, and I never knew how to express myself. But women go through that too. I mean, I've heard countless stories where girls are looking for a guy who's emotionally available because their last partner never listened, never cared, never tried to change, never tried to do anything that was emotionally beneficial for her. I guess what I'm really saying is I want everyone to be better. And that's a tough ask. I always start with like the thing that initially makes me want to make the video, and then I swing around to how everyone might feel. Because people are so varied, right? To say that only men can be serial killers would be factually incorrect. To say only women emotionally manipulate would be factually incorrect. Now, do I think statistically men are more likely to physically abuse? Yes. Do I think statistically women are more likely to emotionally abuse? Probably also yes. I think we get too caught up a lot of times in thinking that people can be innocent based on their gender, or can be innocent based on where they're from, their culture. And I think people have the capacity to do all kinds of things across all demographics. And that's kind of the story here. All right, so we're gonna do crossbody curls, and then we're gonna see you in the car. So, because I'm actually a psychopath, we only did 50s, right? I said we're kind of between 50s and 55s, and 55 is definitely going up in weight for the crossbody curls. However, I'm really just trying to build these biceps up a little bit. So even though we're kind of tweaked, and I was complaining on the machine creatures that I'm already kind of like a little bit oopy as far as this exercise goes, we're doing 55s, and we're gonna try and get 6. And if we don't get 6, it's you, the viewer's fault, because you guys didn't send me enough energy for this spirit bomb. So let's get some, I don't know, something going here that makes me feel something. Here we go. Alright, that was the roughest 6 reps I think I've ever done on an exercise. The mustache is such a strange phenomenon to me. On the one hand, some days I kind of dig it. And on the other, some days I think I look goofy as fuck. I almost shaved it off today, in fact. But I said, no, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to stay strong. If it looks like shit, it looks like shit. What can you do? I want to find a woman who loves me for me, not for the hair on my face, or the lack of it, That ain't easy. Now I don't have much to say anymore. I've done so much yapping. I've run out of my comedy sketches over. Let's get this last one done and be strong. All right, I love you in the car. All right, so that is going to conclude our back and bicep adventure for the day. I guess in conclusion to the, topic at hand that we had, men have problems. And on some level, in some amount of cases, we are not heard. I implore any girls who happen by this video who notice that maybe you have not been as open and aware of your partner's issues to try to be. And if you're doing the opposite, you're a guy and you are also not there for your partner, I implore you to be better as well. Because everyone deserves a partner that is there for them. Everybody deserves, if I'm going to be with you, if we are going to be in love, if we're going to get married, then you deserve someone who is actually part of that equation. Not part of it when it's good, not part of it when it's bad, who's there for you because they made vows that they would be there forever. I'd go as far as to say if you're a guy and you're in a relationship and you feel like you cannot emotionally open up to your wife, I would just do it. I would just try. What is the worst case scenario? You find out that she is not the woman you think she is, and you can take steps to improve it and find a solution. There is no downside. When we hold things in, when we bottle it up and we don't talk to anybody, that is why people end up deleting themselves. That's when you find out about one of your best friends in a newspaper or from a call or for an update on Discord. And we don't want that to happen anymore. I think men have a lot of issues that go completely unaddressed because it is not tough to deal with issues. It doesn't matter how tough you are if you're in the ground. If you're part of the problem, if you don't value relationships, if you don't value your partner, if you're quick to look and see how green the grass is on the other side, if you think that your problems are so big that you have to cheat, you need to take a long look at yourself and think about what you are doing, not only to your relationship and your partner, but what you're doing to yourself. Because once you take that step, there's no going back. You're not going to forget. You're not going to be able to move past it. It will forever be in your brain. And you might not tell your next partner about your past, but you'll always think about it. And I guarantee you, down the road, you're going to think about Susie. You'll think about John, whoever it was that you hurt, and you'll regret it. And you'll always be paranoid it's going to happen to you. Be better. Don't be so quick to leave your relationships. And be there emotionally from your partner. And don't manipulate people. Don't go on Tinder and say you want a relationship just so you can sleep with women who are vulnerable, who are looking for something serious. And as a girl, don't go on dates with guys you're not interested in. Treat people like they're actually people and not walking wallets and walking holes to fill. Because all it does is damage future relationships for them, for you, because you're part of the problem. XYZ thing happened to the girl you're trying to be with. XYZ thing happened to the boy you're trying to be with. And now they cannot fully invest themselves early, maybe ever, because we all treat each other so poorly. We are more than the money in our pockets and the sexual organs between our legs. So please treat everyone like they are. That's it for the day. See you next time.